Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. And oh gosh, I know that the name of this little channel is Megan McKinney is the worst, but wow, Amy Alyssa Firefly Griffin is really stepping into that role hard. Um, I started it 4 years ago when Megan came back from maternity leave, and it was in January, and right after the January 6th attack on the Capitol happened, and she was just terrible at this. And now, since the re-election of Donald Trump, and now his inauguration, uh, Amy Alyssa Firefly Griffin is really doubling down on shitty, shitty takes. Today, they were talking about the pardons that Trump issued, over 1,500 pardons to convicted felons, violent convicted felons. And I'm glad that Sarah brought it up that he also pardoned the guy who created Silk Road, which was drug trafficking and gun trafficking, illegal, and was responsible for several people's deaths. Not only a major giant grift, but and he was supposed to be in prison for the rest of his life. But because he was a Trump supporter, he got away with it. And so Amy Alyssa Farfar Griffin's logic about being mad about Joe Biden pardoning his siblings is that it sets a precedent for a president to tell their family to do anything that they want that's illegal, and it's okay, they'll get a pardon for it. That's the president she's said, and I think three times she's phrased it that way, to tell his family they can do anything they want and they'll get pardoned for it. The problem is those people didn't do anything wrong. Joe Biden pardoned people who didn't do anything wrong because he knew that it was a vindictive guy that had a power to go after them. The precedent that's being set and the message that's being sent by the orange toddlers pardons is that anybody, any of you can do absolutely anything. And as long as it's in my name and helps me and serves me, you won't suffer any consequences. She was trying to say, if we're going to live in a society where no one is above the law and people, well, that's not the society we live in anymore. Trump has now made the message that people are above the law. He didn't get prosecuted the way that he should have been. And that's the failing of our systems. And we can point fingers to Garland, Biden, a whole bunch of people about why he didn't get prosecuted in the time that we had before this 2024 election. But he's above the law. He wants his cronies above the law. He is saying, go ahead, kill a police officer, but as long as you're doing it for me, I'll forgive you and you won't have to go to jail. That's what these pardons are saying. So don't what about setting precedent for Joe Biden talking about six people who did nothing wrong. Your guy, Alyssa, because you're still defending it. Even though you caveat, yes, that's despicable, but what about? And even though you preface the conversation with, it's not whataboutism, you're literally whatabouting. Your guy is letting people convicted of violent crimes back onto the street. And I don't blame Harry. Was it Harry Dunn? No. I don't remember which one. One of them went to get some sort of protection for himself because he knows that these people know who he is and will want to come after him. And that's so sad. These guys who are attacked and traumatized now have to worry about the fact that the people who organized the attack and trauma on them are now free and running around. And I think because they're pardoned, they're allowed to get weapons again. But as convicted felons, they wouldn't have. So that's like, They're terrorists. They're domestic terrorists, and he just let them out. I don't understand how you don't get that. Um, and so no, a pardon for a half a dozen people who did nothing wrong is not in any way equating to a national emergency in the same way that what Trump just did is. So fuck you, Alyssa. Jesus Christ. And then the next topic was about the woman. Is she a pastor? I don't know her title. Um, but she gave a sermon at the whatever the church service was yesterday at the National Cathedral, and said directly to President Trump, um, "Be mindful and take care of those that are vulnerable." She gave one of the most Christian messages you could possibly give. There are people, hardworking, law-abiding people, that she's asking for his mercy on. So, like, you can't get any more Christian than that. And not only does he, of course, assail the whole thing and insult her, all of his stupid minions and who claim to be good Christians basically want to get the torches out for her. The hypocrisy is so high. You can't call yourself a Christian and say that the message that she was sending wasn't part of the Christian message. It's so ridiculous. Um, and then again, Amy Alyssa Farfalla Griffin, wouldn't this message have been better brought to the president in private? And she was like, maybe, but I don't have an opportunity to do that. I wasn't invited. And no, Alyssa, it isn't better because, and this is what I'm going to have to keep saying over and over and over again and putting on social media until I see someone listening. What she did was brave. What she did was stand up for people. What she did was fight. That's what we're looking for. We want people who will oppose his bullshit, his his taking down of freedom, his taking down of democracy, his taking down of people's civil liberties, his taking down of people's ability to seek prosperity. And we're not getting it from our Democratic politicians. We're getting a little bit of, a little bit of resistance from Elizabeth Warren. We're getting some good defiance out of AOC. I haven't seen enough from Jasmine Crockett yet, but I'm sure she's in the same camp. Um, and like we and Maxwell Frost, I'm sure falls in that same group. And there may be a handful, but for the most part, we're just seeing capitulating shitheads who want to work across the aisle and be a partner. And we don't want that. We want to see opposition. I don't know how many times I can say the electorate is fucking angry. And a reason a lot of those people sit at home and don't vote is because they don't think anybody's fighting for them. They don't like him and they think the Democrats are useless. And they're not wrong. Because in the past decade, the Democrats have been fairly useless. Got some good stuff done under Biden, barely. But we didn't do the one thing that we were supposed to do, which was actually protect our fucking democracy. And Republicans who want to destroy it all to keep it for themselves. Not the Republican voters, the people that are already in power, the oligarchs, the rich people. And it can't get any more obvious. And what's sad to me is to see people be like, see, we told you this would happen. They don't care. They don't fucking care because cruelty was always the point. I do like to see, hey, police department, he told you. He told you he was going to pardon the January 6th rioters. And still you endorsed him. That's fucking on you. That's on you. You literally got what you paid for, what you supported. Fucking assholes. Anybody who wants to regret their choice and resist and do it loudly, that's fine. Come on board. I'll forgive. I'm not going to forget. I'll forgive if you're willing to fight it, even though you created it. I'm not the journalists, though, not the media. You guys fucking suck. And I should stop watching this fucking show because it is the media and but I don't know, corporate media bullshit. Anyway, that's, um, that's frustrating. Um, yeah. And for, Jack Schlossberg, uh, I liked watching Anna's just sort of disdain for the whole conversation. But yeah, he's an esoteric guy that's posting shit and he gets attention because A, he's a Kennedy. Um, and uh, because he just kind of owns it and he doesn't really kind of give a shit. Um, one thing I will go back to about the sermon, I forgot to mention, because she was asked if she could get a read on people's reactions, and she said she doesn't even bother to do that anymore. But there was a moment when she started to talk about the people who toil away in the picking our crops and talking about immigrants who do all this work. That if you get rid of them, our food economy will collapse. Our restaurant economy, our grocery economy, our food economy will collapse without them. Um, and she started to talk about those people doing that work, honorable hard work that, quite frankly, white Americans don't want to do. And JD Vance did a side eye roll and then whispered something to his wife, and she went, "Mm-hmm. I want to know what that was. The fuck did you have to say about that?" So frustrating. Um, and you know, a part of his executive orders, he removed the ability for Medicare and Medicaid to negotiate drug prices and lifted the $35 insulin cap. He just made insulin more expensive for everybody. Wait till the cost of eggs goes up. They still won't care.